Hey, welcome back to 15 Minutes. I'm Penny Bell. Today we're talking about the most expensive group project in Hollywood right now, Disney handing Ryan Gosling a spaceship and asking him to personally rescue Star Wars on its 50th birthday. No pressure. Let's talk about the most expensive group project in Hollywood right now because Disney just gathered a movie star, a director fresh off a billion-dollar comic book crossover, and a symbolic release date, and they're praying to the box office that the math adds up. The movie is Star Wars, Starfighter. Ryan Gosling is the lead, playing a guy named Cade Oberon, which is either a Jedi or the name of a very expensive cologne. Shawn Levy is directing, the same man who made Deadpool and Wolverine into a giant pile of money, which in Disney's eyes basically makes him a saint. And here's the part they want you to feel in your bones. It comes out May 28th, 2027, the exact same weekend the original Star Wars opened, 50 years earlier. 50 years. To the weekend. Levy himself said he's honored to be releasing on that date, and look, I believe he means it. He's been a Star Wars superfan since before it was a corporate strategy. According to reports, he flew to London to pitch this thing to Lucasfilm boss Kathleen Kennedy a few years back, then got yanked away by Stranger Things and had to sit on the dream for years. That's genuinely sweet. But let's not pretend the anniversary timing is an accident of pure reverence. Nobody stumbles onto the 50th anniversary. That date is a marketing weapon with a bow tie on it. Here's the tea, and it's a little sad if you think about it too long. Star Wars, the untouchable, invincible print money franchise, apparently needs a win. Those aren't my words. That's the framing coming from outlets and, notably, from the CEO of IMAX, a man named Rich Gelfond, who called the movie a throwback to the Harrison Ford kind of Star Wars. Now, a throwback to the Harrison Ford kind of Star Wars is a fascinating thing to promise because it quietly admits that whatever they've been serving lately was not the Harrison Ford kind. It was the other kind. The kind you scroll past. Let me back up and explain how we got to a galaxy far, far away that suddenly needs a hug. The last actual Star Wars movie in theaters was The Rise of Skywalker, which closed out the sequel trilogy and split the fanbase like a lightsaber through a very divisive door. After that, Disney went all in on streaming. The Mandalorian, Andor, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, The Book of Boba Fett, The Acolyte, Skeleton Crew. Some of it genuinely great, some of it content in the way that a vending machine has snacks. And along the way, they announced a whole graveyard of movies. Directors got attached, writers got hired, press releases went out, and then nothing. Poof. Levy himself has basically acknowledged this pattern, insisting his movie is the one that's actually going to exist. Which is a bold thing to say when the standard Star Wars film life cycle is announce, hype, quietly vanish, repeat. The thing that was supposed to save theatrical Star Wars was The Mandalorian and Grogu, which opened recently and is being described everywhere as underwhelming. Now here's where I get to be the annoying one. Nobody in the coverage actually gives you a box office number to back up underwhelming. It's just asserted. It underperformed, says who, and compared to what? For a franchise this size, underwhelming could mean it made a fortune and simply failed to make the fortune. But the vibe stuck, and the vibe is what greenlights the next rescue mission, so now the pressure lands on Starfighter to be the real theatrical test. The one that proves people will still leave the house for Star Wars. Which brings us back to the strategy. And it is textbook franchise revival machinery. You take a bankable movie star, Gosling, who is currently beloved and can carry a movie on charisma and cheekbones alone. You pair him with a hitmaker director everyone trusts, because his last thing printed money. You slap on the most sentimental release date in the calendar, and then you get a commercial partner to stand up in public and predict a hit. That's the IMAX guy. And I need you to notice something. IMAX makes money when a giant Star Wars movie fills giant screens. So an IMAX executive saying this could be the win Star Wars needs is not a neutral film critic having a thought. That's a man cheering for his own paycheck, which is fine. Just don't confuse it with a review. It's the movie equivalent of your friend swearing the party is going to be amazing because they're the one throwing it. Now for the receipts on what this movie actually is, because Lucasfilm is keeping the plot locked up tighter than a Skywalker family secret. What we know. It's set about 5 years after the rise of Skywalker, though Wikipedia hedges and says 5 or 6 because, apparently, even the timeline is playing it coy. It's fully standalone. Not launching a trilogy, not setting up 9 spin-offs, just one movie that begins and ends. Which honestly, after everything, feels almost radical. The cast is stacked. Gosling, plus Mia Goth and Matt Smith as the antagonists, plus Aaron Pierre, Amy Adams, and a bunch more. Cinematography by the guy who shot some of the most gorgeous blockbusters out there. Score by a legend. They filmed in the UK and in Sardinia, Italy, and the footage they showed off reportedly looks nothing like the deserts and ice planets you know. Think skyscraper-sized ocean geysers. So they're at least trying to make it feel new. And here's a little casting ghost story I love. Matt Smith was cast in The Rise of Skywalker and then never actually appeared in it. Cut, vanished, gone. Levy said, bringing him in for Starfighter feels like destiny fulfilled. Destiny fulfilled for a man who got edited out of a Star Wars movie and had to wait years to sneak back in through a different door. That's not destiny. That's a very patient understudy finally getting the stage. There are a couple of things floating around that I have to flag, because I refuse to sell you a rumor as a fact. There's a single source report that Daisy Ridley might come back as Rey in some mentor role. It's not in any confirmed cast list, so file it under maybe, maybe not. There's also a wild one that Tom Cruise reportedly directed an action scene during production. One source, unverified, no primary confirmation, so picture it, treasure it, but do not tattoo it on yourself. And Mikey Madison, fresh off her big moment, was briefly in talks to play the female villain and reportedly walked over a salary dispute, which means somewhere out there is an actress who looked at a Star Wars offer and said, not for that price. Iconic. Genuinely. Know your worth in a galaxy far, far away. Here's why this actually matters and why it's more interesting than just another trailer drop. This is the famous Lifeline thing laid completely bare. Disney is betting that one movie star's face and one director's reputation can carry the emotional weight of an entire cultural institution that used to be unkillable. They are not selling you the story. They can't. They've hidden it. They're selling you people. Trust Gosling. Trust the guy who made Deadpool work. Trust the anniversary. It's fame doing the heavy lifting a brand used to do on its own. And it tells you something quietly brutal, which is that Star Wars, the thing that basically invented the modern blockbuster, no longer assumes you'll show up. It has to recruit famous people to convince you. And I get the impulse. It's the same reason we all fall for the comeback narrative. We love a redemption arc. We want the underdog to win, even when the underdog is a multi-billion-dollar franchise owned by the most powerful entertainment company alive. That's the trick. They dressed up the Empire as the scrappy hope. Levy keeps using that word, hope. Themes of hope and family, which are the two most Star Wars words in existence, and also the two safest things you can promise when you won't tell anyone what happens in your movie. So do I think it'll be good? I genuinely have no idea, and neither does the IMAX guy, and neither does anyone posting confident predictions right now. What I know is, the machine is running exactly as designed. Star, director, sacred date, cheerleader with a financial stake. If it lands, they'll call it destiny. If it flops, it quietly joins the pile of Star Wars movies that got announced and never grew up. The force is strong. The marketing is stronger. And Gosling is out here being asked to save the whole galaxy with a smile and a spaceship. Thanks for spending some of your 15 minutes with me. I'm Penny Bell. This is 15 Minutes, and we'll be back with more tea from the machine soon.
Grep News. Thomas.